hospital's emergency room. Lana has no idea I orchestrated everything. The windshield wipers beat a steady rhythm against the November storm as I navigate the empty city streets. The hospital district looks like something out of a Stephen King novel. Faded storefronts with broken neon signs, cracked sidewalks, and that perpetual smell of antiseptic mixed with urban decay that seems to hang over this part of town like a curse. "Dean, I'm scared," Lana whispers from the passenger seat, clutching her stomach. Her designer purse sits between us like a barrier, expensive leather that cost more than my monthly salary as an IT tech at the hospital. She's been carrying secrets in that purse for months now. "We'll get you checked out," I say, keeping my voice steady. Inside, I'm calculating every move, every possibility. 3 months of planning have led to this moment. 3 months since I discovered the truth about my wife's late-night gym sessions and her sudden interest in pharmaceutical conferences. The emergency room buzzes with typical Friday night chaos: drunk college kids, worried parents with feverish children, and the usual collection of humanity that finds itself needing medical attention at ungodly hours. The fluorescent lights cast everything in harsh relief, making everyone look sickly and desperate. "Name?" the triage nurse asks, not looking up from her computer screen. "Lana Calix?" my wife answers, her voice barely above a whisper. The nurse's fingers pause over the keyboard. She glances up, recognition flickering across her face. "Take a seat. The doctor will see you shortly." Lana's phone buzzes in her purse. The screen lights up through the leather, Tanner's name clearly visible. I note it silently, filing away another piece of evidence in the case I've been building against my cheating wife and her pharmaceutical rep lover. We settle into uncomfortable plastic chairs in the waiting area. Lana keeps checking her phone, typing quick responses when she thinks I'm not looking. The irony isn't lost on me. She's texting her lover while sitting next to her husband in the place where their affair is about to explode into the open. "Mrs. Calix?" A voice cuts through the ambient noise of the emergency room. We both look up to see Dr. Cleo Marver approaching with a clipboard. She's tall, confident, with the kind of no-nonsense demeanor that commands respect in high-pressure situations. Her dark hair is pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her scrubs are immaculate, despite the late hour. Lana's face goes white, whiter than when she stumbled through our door claiming illness. She recognizes Cleo, though they've never been formally introduced. She knows exactly who this woman is, and more importantly, who she's married to. "Dr. Marver," I say, standing and extending my hand. "Thank you for seeing us so late." Cleo's grip is firm, her eyes sharp as they assess the situation. "Mr. Calix, of course. Shall we get your wife examined?" The examination room is small and sterile, with that particular hospital smell that seems to seep into everything. Lana sits on the paper-covered table, her legs dangling like a child's. The confident, ambitious woman who works in the hospital's legal department has been replaced by someone vulnerable and terrified. "What seems to be the problem tonight?" Cleo asks, pulling on latex gloves with practiced efficiency. "I've been feeling nauseous," Lana stammers. "Stomach pain, some burning sensations." Cleo nods professionally, making notes on her chart. "Any recent changes in your routine? New partners? Travel?" The question hangs in the air like a loaded weapon. Lana's eyes dart to me, then back to Cleo. She's trapped, and she knows it. No, nothing like that," Lana lies. "Interesting," Cleo says, her voice carefully neutral. "Because Tanner had the exact same symptoms last week." The words hit Lana like a physical blow. Her mouth opens and closes soundlessly, like a fish gasping for air. The color drains from her face completely now, leaving her looking almost translucent under the harsh examination room lighting. I lean back in my chair, watching the scene unfold with the satisfaction of a chess player who's just announced checkmate. "Tanner Jossman, right? The pharmaceutical rep? Your husband?" Cleo's smile is cold as winter steel. That's right. Small world, isn't it? Lana tries to bolt then, sliding off the examination table and heading for the door. But I'm faster, positioning myself between her and the exit without appearing threatening. Just a concerned husband, making sure his wife gets the medical attention she needs. Let's not leave before we get those test results, I say calmly. I need to run some quick tests, Cleo announces, preparing a collection kit. Standard procedure for these types of symptoms. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. 20 minutes later, we're back in the waiting area. Lana sits rigid beside me, her phone silent now. She's stopped texting Tanner, probably because she's realized that any communication between them at this point would be evidence of their affair. Mrs. Calix? A different voice this time. Porter Keller, the hospital administrator, approaches with a manila envelope in his hands. He's a thin man with prematurely gray hair and the kind of bureaucratic efficiency that makes him invaluable in a place like this. Mr. Keller, I say, standing to shake his hand. Working late tonight? Someone has to keep this place running, he replies with a tired smile. He hands me the envelope, not Lana. The test results. Dr. Marver asked me to deliver them personally. Lana reaches for the envelope, but I'm already opening it. Inside are lab results that confirm what I already know, what I've known for weeks thanks to some careful investigation and a few well-placed questions to the right people. Positive, I announce, loud enough for several other people in the waiting area to hear. Looks like you caught something after all. Lana's face crumples. She buries her head in her hands, shoulders shaking. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Don't worry, Dean, Cleo says, appearing beside us like she's been waiting for this moment. I'll handle all the legal paperwork, patient confidentiality and all that. The implication is clear. She'll handle the legal aspects, but she won't be keeping this quiet. Not when it involves her own husband's infidelity. Lana looks up, panic replacing shame in her eyes. You can't. This is private medical information. Of course, Porter says smoothly. Though I should mention that hospital policy requires certain disclosures when staff members are involved in compromising situations. For liability purposes, you understand. My wife works in the legal department. She knows exactly what this means. Her job, her reputation, her carefully constructed life, all of it is about to come crashing down around her. Can we go home now? She whispers. I stand and help her to her feet, playing the role of the supportive husband. Absolutely. We should probably discuss your treatment options. As we walk toward the exit, Cleo calls out behind us. Oh, and Lana, you might want to contact Tanner. He'll need to know about this development. The automatic doors slide open, releasing us into the cold November night. The rain has stopped, but the air still carries that electric feeling that comes after a storm. Lana stumbles slightly as we walk to the car, whether from her condition or the weight of her crumbling world. I can't tell. Dean, she starts as I unlock the car doors. Save it, I say, my voice finally carrying the edge I've been suppressing all night. We'll talk at home. But even as I say it, I know there won't be much talking. The talking phase ended months ago when I first suspected something was wrong. When I hired a private investigator to confirm what my gut already knew. When I started planning this moment with the precision of a military operation. Lana climbs into the passenger seat, her movements mechanical and defeated. She doesn't know it yet, but this is just the beginning. The infection she's caught isn't just physical, it's about to spread through every aspect of her life, destroying everything she's worked to build. As I start the engine and pull out of the hospital parking lot, I catch sight of Cleo standing in the emergency room entrance, her phone pressed to her ear. She's probably calling her husband right now, letting him know that his little secret is out. The drive home is silent, except for the hum of the engine and Lana's occasional sniffles. I navigate the familiar streets of our neighborhood, past the rows of modest houses where people live honest lives with honest relationships. Our house sits at the end of a cul-de-sac, a small two-bedroom that we bought when we were young and optimistic about our future together. That future ended tonight in a hospital examination room, though Lana doesn't realize it yet. She thinks this is about her getting caught cheating. She has no idea that I've been planning her destruction for months, carefully laying the groundwork for a revenge that will be thorough, legal, and absolutely devastating. I pull into the driveway and shut off the engine. The house feels strangely unfamiliar, as if I'm seeing it anew. Maybe because I know tonight is my last here as Lana's husband. Tomorrow, everything will be different. Dean, Lana tries again as we walk to the front door. Inside, I say simply. The living room feels smaller than usual, cluttered with the detritus of a marriage that's been rotting from the inside out. Lana's yoga mat is still rolled up in the corner from her morning workout, another lie in the extensive catalog of deception she's built over the past 6 months. Her medical journals are stacked neatly on the coffee table, professional reading that helped her understand exactly what she was risking with her extracurricular activities. Please, let me explain, Lana begins, perching on the edge of our couch like she's ready to flee at any moment. I settle into my recliner, the one she's always complained about because it doesn't match our carefully curated decor. Explain what, exactly? How you've been screwing Tanner Jossman for the past 4 months? How you've been lying to my face every single day? Or maybe you want to explain how you thought you could keep this secret forever? Her face crumples again, but I'm past the point of being moved by her tears. It wasn't supposed to happen. It started innocently. Innocently, I repeat, tasting the word like something bitter. Right. I'm sure it was very innocent when you were texting him at 2 a.m., or when you started buying new lingerie that I never got to see. Lana's eyes widen. You've been watching me? I've been paying attention, I correct. Something I should have done a long time ago. The truth is, I've been doing much more than paying attention. For the past 3 months, I've been conducting what you might call an investigation. It started small, noticing the way she guarded her phone, the sudden interest in working late, the new perfume that appeared in our bathroom, but it escalated quickly once I confirmed my suspicions. Private investigator fees aren't cheap on an IT salary, but Mike Rodriguez was worth every penny. The photos he provided were thorough and damning. Lana and Tanner at restaurants across town, checking into hotels during lunch breaks, embracing in hospital parking structures. But more importantly, Mike helped me understand the scope of their relationship and identify the best pressure points for maximum damage. How long have you known? Lana asks quietly. Long enough to plan accordingly. My phone buzzes with a text message. I glance at it and smile, the first genuine smile I've felt in months. It's from Cleo. Tanner's on his way home. Should be an interesting conversation. Who's texting you? Lana demands, a flash of her old assertiveness breaking through. Someone who understands what it feels like to be betrayed by their spouse. The realization hits her like a physical blow. You've been talking to his wife? Dr. Marver and I have developed a professional relationship, I say carefully. Turns out we have a lot in common. Lana stands abruptly, pacing to the window that overlooks our small backyard. This is insane, Dean. You can't destroy people's lives because you're angry. I'm not destroying anything, I reply, keeping my voice level. I'm simply allowing the truth to come to light. You and Tanner destroyed your own lives the moment you decided to betray your spouses. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. I lean forward in my chair, studying my wife's profile as she stares out into the darkness. You made choices, Lana. Every text, every lie, every time you came home to me after being with him. Those were choices. Now you get to live with the consequences. She turns back to face me, and I see something new in her expression. Not just shame or fear, but anger. So what? You're going to punish me forever? Ruin my career? Destroy my reputation? Your career? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Lana, you work in the legal department of the hospital where your lover sells pharmaceuticals. You've been having an affair with a vendor, which violates about 12 different ethical guidelines. I didn't ruin your career. You did. The color drains from her face as the full implications sink in. Hospital ethics boards don't take kindly to relationships that could compromise procurement decisions or create conflicts of interest. Even if she could prove the affair didn't influence any business dealings, the appearance of impropriety would be enough to end her career in healthcare administration. You planned this, she whispers. You planned all of this. I planned to protect myself, I correct. Everything else is just natural consequences. My phone rings, and I recognize the number immediately. Excuse me, I tell Lana, answering the call. Porter, what's the situation? Porter Keller's voice is calm and professional, but I can hear the satisfaction underneath. HR received an anonymous tip about an hour ago. Detailed documentation of the relationship between Mrs. Calix and Mr. Jossman, including dates, times, and locations. They'll be conducting a full investigation starting Monday morning. Anonymous tip? I ask, though I already know the answer. Completely anonymous, though whoever sent it was very thorough. Photos, text message screenshots, hotel receipts, quite comprehensive. Lana is watching me with growing horror, understanding enough of the conversation to realize her professional life is about to implode. Thank you for the update, I tell Porter before hanging up. What did you do? She demands. I documented your affair and reported it to the appropriate authorities. It's called accountability, Lana. You might want to look it up. She sinks back onto the couch, her head in her hands. My job, Dean, my job is everything to me. It should have been more important to you when you were risking it for afternoon hookups with a married pharmaceutical rep. The house falls silent, except for the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway, a wedding gift from Lana's parents that now seems to be counting down the final moments of our marriage. I study my wife's defeated posture and feel nothing. No satisfaction, no regret, just a cold emptiness where my love for her used to be. What happens now? She asks without looking up. Now you face the consequences of your choices. HR will conduct their investigation. Dr. Marver will file for divorce from Tanner. You'll probably lose your job. And I'll file for divorce from you. Just like that. Just like that. She looks up at me then, and I see the woman I married buried somewhere beneath the layers of deception and betrayal. For a moment, I remember why I fell in love with her. The ambition, the intelligence, the way she could make me laugh after a terrible day at work. But that woman is gone, replaced by someone who could look me in the eye every morning while carrying on an affair behind my back. I never meant for this to happen, she says quietly, but it did happen, and now we all have to live with it. My phone buzzes again, another text from Cleo. This one makes me smile. Package delivered. Tanner's moving out tonight. What's so funny? Lana asks bitterly. Your boyfriend is having an even worse night than you are. She stares at me like she's seeing a stranger, and maybe she is. The Dean Calix she married was trusting, forgiving, willing to overlook small betrayals for the sake of peace. That man died the day I saw the first photo of her with Tanner, replaced by someone harder and infinitely more calculating. I don't recognize you, she whispers. Good, I reply. The man you knew was weak enough to be betrayed. This version won't make that mistake again. I stand and walk toward the hallway, pausing at the bottom of the stairs. I'll be sleeping in the guest room from now on. I suggest you use the weekend to find somewhere else to stay. Come Monday, this is going to get very unpleasant for you. Dean, wait. She stands too, reaching toward me like she wants to bridge the distance between us. Can't we try to work this out? Go to counseling or something? I turn back to face her one last time. Counseling is for marriages that can be saved. This one died months ago. I'm just making it official. As I climb the stairs to the guest room, I can hear her crying behind me. The sound should move me, should trigger some instinct to comfort the woman I've shared a bed with for 5 years. Instead, I feel nothing but a cold satisfaction that justice is finally being served. The guest room is small but clean, with a single bed and a dresser that holds my emergency clothes, items I moved here weeks ago in preparation for this moment. I sit on the edge of the bed and pull out my phone, scrolling through the messages that have been accumulating all evening. Cleo. Tanner's gone, took a suitcase and his golf clubs, left his wedding ring on the kitchen counter. Porter. Board meeting scheduled for Monday 9 a.m. Both employees will be suspended pending investigation. Mike. Final payment received. Case closed. Good luck. I set the phone aside and lie back on the unfamiliar mattress, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow, the real work begins. Tonight was just the opening move in a game I've been planning for months. Lana and Tanner think their biggest problem is getting caught cheating. They have no idea how thoroughly I've documented their affair, how many people I've quietly informed, how completely I've prepared to dismantle the life they tried to build on lies. From downstairs, I can hear Lana moving around, probably packing or calling friends for support. Let her. By Monday morning, she'll discover that her support network isn't as solid as she thought. Funny how quickly people distance themselves from scandal when their own reputations might be at risk. I close my eyes and listen to the sounds of my marriage finally ending. It's been a long time coming, but the wait was worth it. Justice delayed isn't justice denied. Sometimes it's just justice perfected. Monday morning arrives gray and cold, with the kind of November weather that makes everyone look miserable. I'm sitting in my office in the hospital's IT department, ostensibly working on network maintenance, but actually monitoring the electronic communications that flow through our servers. It's amazing what you can learn when you understand how information moves through an organization. Dean? My supervisor, Janet Walsh, pokes her head into my cubicle. HR wants to see you in conference room B. Something about a personnel matter. I save my work and lock my computer, taking my time. I've been expecting this meeting since Friday night. Any idea what it's about? Probably just routine, Janet says, but her expression suggests otherwise. Hospital gossip travels faster than most viruses, and by now everyone knows something significant happened over the weekend. Conference room B is on the 3rd floor in the administrative wing where Lana works, or used to work. As I walk through the corridors, I notice the way conversations stop when people see me. Some faces show sympathy, others curiosity, a few show something that might be respect. Word has gotten around that Dean Calix isn't the pushover everyone thought he was. The conference room contains 4 people: Patricia Holmes from HR, Porter Keller, Dr. Marver, and someone I don't recognize, a woman in an expensive suit who screams lawyer from across the room. Mr. Calix? Patricia says, gesturing to an empty chair. Thank you for coming. This is Amanda Foster, our outside counsel. We need to discuss some recent developments. I sit down and fold my hands on the table, projecting calm professionalism. Of course. How can I help? We've received some serious allegations regarding your wife's conduct, Amanda begins, opening a thick file folder. Specifically, claims of an inappropriate relationship with a pharmaceutical vendor that may have compromised hospital procurement processes. That's unfortunate, I say carefully, though I'm not sure how I can help with an investigation into my wife's professional conduct. Patricia leans forward. The allegations came with substantial documentation. Photos, text messages, financial records, very detailed information that would be difficult for an outsider to obtain. I see. Mr. Calix, Amanda continues, we need to ask directly. Did you provide information to support these allegations? I meet her gaze steadily. I reported what I observed to the appropriate authorities. If my wife was engaged in behavior that violated hospital policies, I felt obligated to bring that to your attention. Even though it would damage your wife's career? Patricia asks. Especially because it would damage her career. If she was willing to risk her professional reputation for an affair, that suggests a serious lack of judgment that could affect her work performance. Dr. Marver speaks for the first time. Mr. Calix, I want to thank you for your courage in reporting this situation. As the attending physician who treated your wife Friday night, I can confirm that the medical evidence supports the allegations of an inappropriate relationship. Amanda makes a note in her file. We've suspended both Mrs. Calix and Mr. Jossman pending a full investigation. Given the strength of the evidence, we expect the investigation to conclude quickly. What does that mean for their employment? I ask. Mrs. Calix will likely face termination for violation of ethics policies, Patricia explains. Mr. Jossman's company has already been notified, and his contract with the hospital will be terminated immediately. I nod thoughtfully. That seems appropriate. The hospital's reputation has to be protected. There's one more matter, Amanda says, pulling out another document. We understand you've filed for divorce? I have. My attorney submitted the paperwork this morning. And you're seeking what kind of settlement? This is the question I've been waiting for. I'm seeking dissolution of the marriage with equitable distribution of assets. However, given that my wife's infidelity directly caused the breakdown of the marriage, I believe I'm entitled to a larger share of our joint property. Amanda nods. The hospital wants to avoid any suggestion that we're taking sides in a domestic dispute. However, we also need to protect ourselves from potential lawsuits. If Mrs. Calix claims she's being unfairly targeted. She won't, I say with confidence. The evidence is too overwhelming and she knows it. The meeting continues for another 20 minutes, covering legal technicalities and procedural matters. But the real business is finished. Lana's career is over, Tanner's contract is terminated, and the hospital is positioning itself to avoid any liability. Everything is proceeding exactly as I planned. When I return to my office, there's a voicemail waiting from my attorney, Richard Stone. I call him back immediately. Dean, good news, Richard says without preamble. I've reviewed the documentation you provided, and it's more than sufficient to support a fault-based divorce. With this level of evidence, we can probably negotiate a very favorable settlement. What kind of time frame are we looking at? If she doesn't contest it, 6 to 8 weeks. If she fights it, we could be looking at several months, but frankly, I don't think she'll want the details of her affair aired in open court. And the financial arrangements? You'll keep the house, the cars, and most of the joint accounts. She'll be entitled to some assets, but given the circumstances, it won't be much. Plus, if she loses her job, which seems likely, she won't be in a position to fight for more. I hang up feeling satisfied. The legal machinery is grinding forward, and Lana's options are disappearing by the hour. But I'm not finished yet. Destroying her career and ending our marriage is just the beginning. She needs to understand the full cost of her betrayal. My phone rings, Cleo's number. How did the meeting go? She asks. As expected, your husband's contract is terminated and Lana will be fired by the end of the week. Good. There's something else we need to discuss. Can you meet me for lunch? Where? Murphy's Diner on 5th Street, 1 o'clock. Murphy's is a dive. The kind of place where hospital workers grab quick meals between shifts, and nobody pays attention to conversations at other tables. Cleo is already there when I arrive, sitting in a corner booth with 2 cups of coffee. You look better than I expected, she says as I slide into the opposite seat. I feel better than I have in months. Amazing what honesty can do for your peace of mind. She smiles grimly. I know the feeling. Tanner moved in with his brother over the weekend. Filed for divorce this morning. Fast work. I don't believe in prolonging misery. She leans forward, lowering her voice. But I think we have a problem. Lana's been calling around, trying to find out who reported her to HR. She's also been talking to friends, claiming she's the victim of a vindictive husband. Let her talk. The evidence speaks for itself. maybe. But she's also been in contact with Jennifer Walsh. The name hits me like a punch to the gut. Jennifer Walsh, Lana's best friend since college, a woman who's been in our house dozens of times, who I've treated like family for years. If Lana is talking to Jennifer, she's probably getting more than just emotional support. What kind of contact? Jennifer's been asking questions around the hospital, trying to find out who has access to the kind of information that was included in the HR complaint. She's also been making some interesting phone calls. Cleo slides a piece of paper across the table. It's a phone log showing calls between Jennifer's number and several others I don't recognize. How did you get this? I have friends in telecommunications. The point is, Jennifer isn't just providing a shoulder to cry on. She's actively helping Lana investigate how her affair was exposed. I studied the phone log, noting the frequency and timing of the calls. Jennifer made a dozen calls on Sunday alone, all to numbers outside our immediate area. She's looking for allies. Or ammunition. Dean, there's something else you need to know about Jennifer Walsh. The way Cleo says it makes my stomach tighten. What? She was the one who introduced Lana to Tanner. The diner suddenly feels too small, too warm. I set down my coffee cup carefully, trying to process this information. What do you mean, introduced them? 6 months ago, there was a pharmaceutical conference at the Marriott downtown. Jennifer was there representing her company. She works for a medical device manufacturer. Tanner was there for his company. Jennifer made sure they met. You're saying she set up the affair? I'm saying she facilitated it. Whether she intended for it to become an affair or just wanted to introduce two people in related fields, I can't say. But she definitely brought them together. I lean back in the booth, feeling pieces of a larger puzzle clicking into place. Jennifer's sudden interest in Lana's marriage problems over the past few months. Her suggestions that Lana needed to find herself and explore her options. Her encouragement for Lana to be more independent, to stop settling for a modest life with an IT technician. She's been playing a longer game, I realize. That's what I think. And now that her plan has backfired, she's trying to help Lana salvage something from the wreckage. What do you recommend? Cleo's smile is sharp as a scalpel. I recommend we give Jennifer Walsh something to really worry about. The parking garage beneath the hospital is dimly lit and mostly empty at 6 a.m., perfect for the kind of conversation that requires privacy. I'm leaning against my car when Tanner Jossman's BMW pulls into a space 3 rows away. He doesn't see me at first. He's too busy talking on his phone, probably trying to salvage what's left of his pharmaceutical sales career. I wait until he hangs up and steps out of his car before making my presence known. Morning, Tanner. He spins around, nearly dropping his briefcase. Up close, he looks like he hasn't slept in days. His usually perfect hair is disheveled, his expensive suit wrinkled, and there are dark circles under his eyes that no amount of concealer can hide. Dean. His voice is carefully neutral, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. I didn't expect to see you here. Really? I work here. You, on the other hand... I let the sentence hang in the air between us. Look, I know you're angry, and you have every right to be. But this doesn't have to get ugly. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Ugly? Tanner, you've been screwing my wife for 4 months. You gave her a transmitted infection that required emergency room treatment. Your own wife had to examine her. How much uglier could this possibly get? He takes a step back, bumping into his car. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen? You thought you could keep screwing around indefinitely without consequences. We never meant to hurt anyone. But you did hurt people. You hurt your wife, who's been working 60-hour weeks in the ER while you were playing around. You hurt me, and you hurt Lana, though she was too stupid to realize it. Tanner's face flushes red. Don't call her stupid. Why not? She threw away a good marriage and a solid career for a few months with a married pharmaceutical rep. If that's not stupid, what would you call it? She deserved better than what you were giving her. The words hit exactly the nerve Tanner intended, but instead of making me angry, they clarify something I've been thinking about for weeks. You're right. She did deserve better. She deserved a husband who was honest with her, who respected their marriage vows, who didn't sneak around behind her back. Unfortunately, she chose to throw that away for someone who was doing exactly those things to his own wife. I reach into my jacket and pull out a manila envelope. Speaking of your wife, she asked me to give you this. Tanner takes the envelope with shaking hands. Inside are divorce papers, along with several photographs that Mike Rodriguez took over the past few months. Photos of Tanner and Lana at restaurants, hotels, embracing in parking lots. The evidence of their affair laid out in glossy 8x10 detail. She's taking everything, he whispers after scanning the documents. Can you blame her? You cheated on a woman who saves lives for a living, a woman who was treating patients while you were in hotel rooms with my wife. What did you think would happen when she found out? Tanner leans against his car, suddenly looking much older than his 35 years. My kids. She's going to tell my kids. Your kids were going to find out eventually. At least this way, they'll hear it from their mother, instead of reading about it in the hospital newsletter. Hospital newsletter? I smile, enjoying the look of panic that crosses his face. Oh, didn't you know? The hospital publishes a monthly newsletter for employees and vendors. This month's issue has a special section on ethics violations and the importance of maintaining professional boundaries. Very educational. The truth is, there's no newsletter article, yet. But there will be. Porter Keller and I discussed it yesterday, along with several other ways to ensure that Tanner's reputation in the pharmaceutical industry is thoroughly destroyed. You're enjoying this, Tanner says accusingly. I'm enjoying justice. There's a difference. This isn't justice, it's revenge. Sometimes they're the same thing. Tanner straightens up, trying to recover some of his salesman confidence. You know, Lana told me about you, how controlling you are, how you never supported her ambitions, how you made her feel trapped in a boring, small life. Is that what she told you? I ask, genuinely curious. Did she mention that I worked overtime for 2 years to pay for her graduate degree? Or that I encouraged her to take the job here even though it meant a longer commute for me? Did she tell you about the time I spent my entire vacation fund on a trip to Europe because she wanted to see Paris? Tanner's confidence wavers. She said you were holding her back. I was holding her back from cheating on me, apparently. Guilty as charged. I walk closer to him, close enough that he has to look up slightly to meet my eyes. Here's what's going to happen, Tanner. You're going to stay away from my wife. You're going to leave town, and I suggest you do it quickly, because your reputation in this industry is about to become radioactive. If I see you anywhere near Lana, or if I hear that you've been in contact with her, the photos I gave your wife will be the least of your problems. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining consequences. You made choices that hurt people I care about. Well, used to care about. Now you get to live with what happens next. Tanner tries to step around me, but I shift to block his path. We're not finished talking. I have to get to work. Actually, you don't. Your contract was terminated this morning. Effective immediately. Security will be here in about 10 minutes to escort you out of the building. The color drains from his face. They can't do that. They can, and they did. Ethical violations, conflict of interest, conduct detrimental to the hospital's reputation. Take your pick. I'll sue them. With what money? Your wife is taking the house, the cars, and most of your assets. Your company is conducting their own investigation into your conduct, which means your employment there is probably finished too. Face it, Tanner, you're done. As if on cue, 2 hospital security guards emerge from the stairwell and approach us. I recognize both of them. Good guys who take their jobs seriously. Mr. Jossman, the older guard, Pete Morrison, addresses Tanner professionally. We need to escort you from the premises. Hospital administration has terminated your access to the facility. Tanner looks around desperately, like he's searching for an escape route. This is harassment. I'm calling my lawyer. You're welcome to do that from outside the building, Pete says calmly. Sir, I need you to come with us now. I step aside to let the guards do their job, watching as Tanner is led away like a common criminal. His BMW sits abandoned in the parking space, probably because his wife has already canceled his credit cards and he can't afford the parking fees. My phone buzzes with a text from Cleo. Package delivered. Jennifer Walsh received some interesting photos this morning. I smile as I walk toward the hospital entrance. Jennifer Walsh, Lana's best friend and secret puppet master, is about to discover that her manipulation has consequences too. The photos Cleo sent her show Jennifer and Tanner together at the pharmaceutical conference 6 months ago, deep in conversation, clearly planning something. They also showed Jennifer meeting with Lana the next day, presumably to arrange the accidental meeting between Lana and Tanner. Jennifer thought she was playing chess, moving pieces around the board to create the outcome she wanted. She had no idea that someone else was watching the game, documenting every move, preparing for the moment when all her careful planning would collapse. Inside the hospital, the morning shift is just getting started. Nurses hurry past with clipboards and coffee cups, doctors review charts, and the familiar sounds of a medical facility fill the corridors. But there's an undercurrent of excitement, the kind of energy that comes when everyone knows something dramatic has happened, but the details are still being whispered from person to person. Dean? Janet Walsh catches up with me as I head toward the IT department. Is it true? Did they really fire Lana? Suspended pending investigation, I correct. Though I suspect the investigation won't take long. And Tanner Jossman? Contract terminated. He won't be coming back. Janet shakes her head in amazement. I can't believe this is happening. Lana always seemed so professional. People aren't always what they appear to be. How are you holding up? This must be incredibly difficult. I appreciate Janet's concern, but I'm past the point of needing sympathy. I'm doing fine. Better than fine, actually. Sometimes the truth is liberating, even when it's painful. If you need time off, thanks, but I'd rather stay busy. Work is a good distraction. The truth is, work isn't a distraction. It's a base of operations. From my desk in the IT department, I can monitor hospital communications, track the progress of the investigation into Lana's conduct, and coordinate with my allies in the administration. Porter Keller has been particularly helpful, providing inside information about HR's timeline and the hospital board's reaction to the scandal. I settle into my cubicle and check my email. 3 messages from my attorney, 2 from the private investigator, and 1 from an unexpected source, Lana's mother. Dean, the email begins, I hope you'll reconsider this divorce. Lana made a mistake, but destroying her life won't bring back your marriage. Please call me. We need to talk. Love, Margaret. I delete the message without responding. Margaret Brennan has always been protective of her daughter, sometimes to a fault. She's the one who encouraged Lana to marry up when we were dating, who made subtle comments about my modest income and working-class background. The irony that her daughter's affair was with someone who appeared successful, but was actually just another cheating spouse, probably isn't lost on her. My phone rings, Cleo's number again. How did the parking garage conversation go? She asks. Tanner's been escorted off the premises. He looked like he was about to cry. Good. What about Jennifer? You said you sent her photos? This morning. Pictures of her setting up the meeting between Lana and Tanner, plus some interesting financial records. Financial records? It turns out Jennifer's company has been trying to get a contract with the hospital for months. Having a friend in the legal department who's romantically involved with a pharmaceutical rep could have been very useful for navigating the approval process. The implications hit me immediately. She wasn't just playing matchmaker. She was trying to create a network of influence. Exactly. Jennifer introduced Lana to Tanner, hoping that their relationship, professional or personal, would give her inside access to hospital procurement decisions. So she's not just a meddling friend, she's a conspirator. That's how I see it. And now that her plan has blown up, she's trying to help Lana salvage the situation to protect her own interests. I lean back in my chair, impressed despite myself. You've been busy. I don't like being played. When I found out that Jennifer orchestrated the meeting that led to my husband's affair, I decided she needed to face some consequences too. What kind of consequences? I sent copies of everything to her company's ethics department, along with a detailed explanation of how she tried to use personal relationships to influence business decisions. I also sent copies to the hospital's procurement department. And? Jennifer Walsh's company just lost their chance at any future contracts with this hospital? Permanently. I feel a surge of admiration for Dr. Cleo Marver. She's as thorough and ruthless as I am, but with the added advantage of medical training that makes her naturally systematic in her approach to problem solving. There's one more thing, Cleo continues. I think it's time for the final phase. What did you have in mind? A public confrontation. Somewhere all the interested parties can see exactly what kind of people they've been dealing with. Where? The hospital's annual charity gala is this Friday night. 500 people, including most of the medical staff, hospital administration, and major vendors. Very public, very visible. Lana and Tanner won't be there. They've both been suspended. But Jennifer will be. Her company bought a table months ago before their ethics problems came to light. And I guarantee you that Lana will try to attend as Jennifer's guest, hoping to do some damage control with the hospital board. I consider the possibilities. A public confrontation at a charity gala could be exactly what I need to finish destroying Lana's reputation and ensure that she never recovers from her mistakes. But it's also risky. Too public, too many witnesses, too many ways for things to go wrong. What exactly are you proposing? I'm proposing we give everyone a chance to see exactly who they've been dealing with. No more whispered rumors or anonymous allegations. Just the truth, presented clearly and undeniably. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Or for justice. Sometimes they're the same thing. I hang up the phone and stare at my computer screen, thinking about Cleo's proposal. A public confrontation would certainly be dramatic, and it would ensure that everyone in the hospital's social and professional circles knows exactly what happened. But it would also be the point of no return. After something like that, there would be no possibility of reconciliation, no chance for Lana to rebuild her life quietly somewhere else. Then again, maybe that's exactly what she deserves. Friday evening arrives with the kind of crisp November air that makes everything seem sharper, more defined. The hospital's annual charity gala is being held at the Riverside Convention Center, a glass and steel monument to civic pride that overlooks the city's industrial waterfront. 500 of the region's medical and business elite will be gathering tonight to raise money for pediatric cancer research and, more importantly, to see and be seen. I'm standing in front of my bathroom mirror, adjusting the tie on my rented tuxedo. It's been 3 years since I attended one of these events. Lana usually went alone, claiming I'd be bored by the medical politics and fundraising speeches. Now I understand she was protecting her professional image, making sure her colleagues didn't spend too much time around her blue-collar husband. Tonight that's going to work in my favor. My phone buzzes with a text from Cleo. Jennifer's table is near the back, left side. Lana arrived 20 minutes ago as her guest. Both look nervous. I smile at my reflection. They should be nervous. Tonight is the culmination of weeks of careful planning, the moment when all the pieces I've been moving around the board finally come together in checkmate. The convention center's main ballroom is decorated in silver and blue, with round tables arranged around a small stage where the evening's speakers will present their appeals for donations. The lighting is soft and flattering, designed to make everyone look their best while opening their wallets for charity. Conversations buzz with the particular energy of people who know they're part of something important. I spot Lana immediately. She's sitting at a table in the back corner, wearing a black dress I've never seen before, probably borrowed from Jennifer since her credit cards have been frozen pending the divorce proceedings. She looks smaller somehow, diminished, like someone who's been carrying a heavy weight for too long. Jennifer Walsh sits beside her, scanning the room with the alertness of someone expecting trouble. She's a thin woman with sharp features and prematurely gray hair that she wears in an expensive cut designed to project authority. I've never liked her, even before I discovered her role in orchestrating Lana's affair. There's something calculating about Jennifer, a quality that makes every conversation feel like a negotiation. "Dean Calix?" A voice behind me interrupts my surveillance. I turn to see Dr. Patricia Holmes, the hospital's chief of staff, approaching with a champagne flute in her hand. "I'm surprised to see you here tonight." "Dr. Holmes, I thought it was important to show support for the hospital, especially during difficult times." Her expression suggests she knows exactly what difficult times I'm referring to. "Yes, the recent personnel issues have been challenging for everyone involved." "I'm sure they have, though I suppose these things happen when people lose sight of their professional obligations." "Indeed." She pauses, studying my face. "I hope you know that the hospital doesn't take sides in personal matters. Our investigation into your wife's conduct is strictly professional." "Of course. Though I appreciate the thoroughness of the investigation, it's important that all the facts come to light." Dr. Holmes nods and moves on, but I can see her processing our conversation, filing away my calm demeanor and professional attitude for future reference. By the end of the evening, she'll have a very clear picture of who the real victim is in this situation. I make my way through the crowd, stopping to chat with colleagues from the IT department and other hospital staff I've worked with over the years. The conversations are polite, but charged with curiosity. Everyone wants to know how I'm handling my wife's very public disgrace, but no one wants to ask directly. "Dean!" Porter Keller appears at my elbow, looking distinguished in his formal wear. "Good to see you here. How are you holding up?" "Better than expected, actually. It's amazing how liberating the truth can be." "I can imagine. Have you seen the final report from HR?" "Not yet. When will it be released?" "Monday morning, though I can tell you unofficially that the findings are comprehensive." I nod, filing away this information. By Monday, Lana's termination will be official and permanent. Her career in healthcare administration will be effectively over, at least in this region. "There's something else you should know," Porter continues, lowering his voice. "Jennifer Walsh's company has withdrawn their bid for the medical device contract. Apparently, they've decided to focus on other markets." "Really? That's unfortunate." "Yes, well, sometimes business relationships become complicated." I spot Cleo across the room, elegant in a navy blue gown that complements her dark hair. She's talking to a group of other physicians, but her eyes find mine across the crowded ballroom. She gives an almost imperceptible nod, the signal that everything is in place for the evening's main event. The dinner portion of the evening passes slowly, with speeches about the importance of pediatric cancer research and testimonials from families whose children have been helped by the hospital's programs. I find myself genuinely moved by some of the stories, reminded that there are real people doing important work here, people whose dedication makes the corruption of individuals like Lana and Tanner even more offensive. During the dessert course, I excuse myself and walk toward the back of the ballroom. It's time to visit Lana's table. Jennifer sees me coming first. Her face goes pale, and she whispers something urgent to Lana, who turns in her chair to watch my approach. Up close, I can see the strain of the past week etched in my wife's features. She's lost weight, and there are dark circles under her eyes that makeup can't entirely hide. "Ladies," I say pleasantly, stopping beside their table. "Enjoying the evening?" "Dean." Lana's voice is barely above a whisper. "I didn't expect to see you here. I thought it was important to support the hospital's charitable work, especially now that I'm going to be a single man with more disposable income." Jennifer bristles. That's unnecessarily cruel, Dean. Is it? I think honesty is refreshing, don't you? We've had so little of it lately. What do you want? Lana asks. I want to introduce you to someone. I gesture toward the front of the ballroom where Cleo is approaching with a man I don't recognize. Dr. Marver, I'd like you to meet my wife, Lana, and her friend Jennifer Walsh. Cleo's smile is polite but cold. Mrs. Calix, Ms. Walsh, I don't believe we've been formally introduced, though I feel like I know you both quite well. The man beside Cleo extends his hand to Jennifer. Ms. Walsh, I'm David Chen, Director of Ethics for Morrison Medical Devices. I believe you know why I'm here. Jennifer's face goes white. This isn't the appropriate venue for business discussions. I disagree, David replies calmly. Your company's attempt to use personal relationships to influence procurement decisions is exactly the kind of unethical behavior that needs to be addressed publicly. I don't know what you're talking about. Cleo opens her small evening purse and removes several photographs. These were taken at the pharmaceutical conference 6 months ago. They show you introducing your friend Lana to my husband, Tanner Jossman. The timestamps indicate this was a planned meeting, not a chance encounter. She places the photos on the table where everyone can see them. The images are clear and damning. Jennifer and Tanner in deep conversation, Jennifer pointing toward Lana across the room, the three of them meeting and shaking hands. So what? Jennifer says defensively. I introduced two people in related fields. That's called networking. Networking becomes conspiracy when the goal is to create romantic relationships that can be exploited for business advantage, David explains. Our investigation shows that you encouraged Mrs. Calix's relationship with Mr. Jossman specifically to gain inside information about hospital procurement processes. Lana stares at the photographs in shock. Jennifer, what is he talking about? It's not what it looks like, Jennifer says quickly. It's exactly what it looks like, Cleo interrupts. She places another document on the table. This is a copy of an email you sent to your sales team 3 weeks after the conference. You specifically mention having developed a new channel of influence within the hospital administration and predict that your company will have significant advantages in upcoming contract negotiations. Jennifer's face turns pale as she realizes the scope of the evidence against her. You accessed my email? We didn't have to. Your own company provided the emails as part of their internal investigation into your conduct. I watch Lana's face as the full implications sink in. Her best friend didn't just introduce her to Tanner. She orchestrated their entire relationship as part of a business strategy. The affair that destroyed Lana's marriage and career wasn't even about love or attraction. It was about Jennifer's ambition and her willingness to use her friend as a pawn in a corporate game. You used me, Lana whispers, staring at Jennifer in horror. It wasn't like that, Jennifer protests. I thought you and Tanner would be good together. I thought you deserved better than… She glances at me and stops herself. Better than what? I ask quietly. Better than a husband who is faithful to you? Better than a marriage based on honesty and respect? You were holding her back, Jennifer snaps, her composure finally cracking. She was brilliant, ambitious, capable of so much more than being married to an IT technician in a small city. She deserved a chance at a bigger life. A bigger life built on lies and adultery? A bigger life built on opportunity. Tanner could have opened doors for her, introduced her to people who mattered, helped her build a real career instead of being stuck in an end administrative job. Lana stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Stop. Just stop talking. The conversation has attracted attention from nearby tables. People are turning to stare, drawn by the rising voices and obvious tension. I can see Dr. Holmes and Porter Keller moving in our direction, along with several other hospital administrators. Lana, I say gently, I think it's time you understood exactly what kind of friend you've been trusting. Cleo places one final document on the table, This is a financial analysis of Ms. Walsh's company. They've been struggling for the past 2 years, losing contracts to larger competitors. The hospital contract would have represented nearly 30% of their annual revenue. You were desperate, I continue, looking directly at Jennifer. Your company was failing, and you needed a way to get inside information about the bidding process, so you decided to use your college roommate as an unwitting agent. That's not true, Jennifer says weakly. It's completely true. You introduced Lana to Tanner hoping they'd develop a relationship. Professional or personal, you didn't care which. When it became personal, that was even better, because it gave you access to inside information from both the hospital's legal department and the pharmaceutical side of the business. By now, we have an audience. Dr. Holmes and Porter have arrived, along with several board members and other hospital staff. The conversations at nearby tables have stopped as people strain to hear what's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, I say, raising my voice slightly so everyone can hear, I'd like to share a story about friendship, betrayal, and the price of ambition. Dean, don't, Lana pleads. But I'm past the point of being swayed by her tears or her embarrassment. 6 months ago, my wife was introduced to a pharmaceutical representative by her best friend. What seemed like an innocent professional meeting was actually a carefully orchestrated attempt to create a channel of influence within the hospital administration. I pick up the photographs and hold them up for everyone to see. The introduction led to an affair that lasted 4 months, during which time my wife provided inside information about hospital procurement processes to her lover, who shared it with his business associates, including Ms. Walsh's company. Gasps and murmurs ripple through the crowd. Dr. Holmes steps forward, her face grave. Mr. Calix, perhaps this would be better discussed in private. I think transparency is important, don't you, Dr. Holmes, especially when it comes to protecting the hospital's integrity. Jennifer stands suddenly, knocking over her water glass. You can't prove any of this. Actually, we can. Cleo speaks calmly, but her voice carries clearly through the ballroom. We have emails, phone records, financial documents, and witness testimony. The evidence is overwhelming. Moreover, David Chen adds, both the hospital and my company will be filing complaints with the appropriate regulatory agencies. This kind of corruption can't be tolerated in the healthcare industry. Lana sinks back into her chair, her face buried in her hands. The woman who walked into this ballroom tonight hoping to salvage something from her ruined career now understands that her situation is even worse than she imagined. She wasn't just an unfaithful wife. She was an unwitting accomplice in a conspiracy to defraud the hospital. I didn't know, she whispers. I swear I didn't know what Jennifer was planning. But you did provide information to Tanner, I say. Information about contract negotiations, personnel decisions, legal strategies. You pillow-talked your way into becoming an accessory to fraud. The silence in the ballroom is deafening. 500 of the region's most prominent citizens are watching the complete destruction of 2 women's reputations and the methodical revenge of a man they'd all underestimated. Porter Keller steps forward, his voice carrying the authority of hospital administration. Ms. Walsh, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the premises immediately. Your company's relationship with this hospital is terminated, effective immediately. And Mrs. Calix, Dr. Holmes adds, your suspension is now permanent. Security will escort you out. As if summoned by her words, 2 security guards appear at the edge of the crowd. The same guards who escorted Tanner from the parking garage earlier this week, now here to complete the circle of justice. Jennifer grabs her purse and pushes through the crowd, her face flushed with humiliation and rage. She doesn't look back at Lana, doesn't offer any words of support or apology. The friendship that supposedly justified all of this manipulation evaporates the moment it becomes inconvenient. Lana stands slowly, moving like someone much older than her 32 years. She looks at me one last time and I see something in her expression that might be understanding or might just be defeat. I'm sorry, she says quietly. I know, I reply, but sorry doesn't fix anything. The security guards escort her toward the exit, and the crowd parts to let them through. Conversations resume gradually, but I can feel the weight of hundreds of eyes on me, assessing, judging, trying to understand what they've just witnessed. Cleo appears beside me, her voice low. "How do you feel?" I consider the question seriously. How do I feel watching my wife of 5 years being escorted out of a public event in disgrace? How do I feel knowing that her career is over, her reputation destroyed, her future uncertain? I feel like justice has been served, I say finally. And for the first time in months, I mean it completely. The ballroom slowly returns to its normal rhythm as people process what they've witnessed and return to their conversations about charitable giving and hospital politics. But I can feel the change in how people look at me. No longer the cuckolded husband deserving of sympathy, but someone who fought back effectively and completely. Dr. Holmes approaches me as the crowd begins to disperse. "Mr. Calix, I want you to know that the hospital appreciates your courage in bringing these matters to our attention. Your actions have helped us avoid what could have been a very serious corruption scandal." "I just wanted the truth to come out," I reply. "Well, it certainly has. I hope you'll consider staying with the hospital. We value employees who demonstrate such integrity." As she walks away, I realize that my own position has been strengthened by tonight's events. I'm no longer just an IT technician whose wife worked in the legal department. I'm the man who exposed a conspiracy and protected the hospital's reputation. My career prospects have probably improved significantly. Cleo joins me as the last of the crowd disperses. "Tanner called me an hour ago. He's leaving town tomorrow, driving to his brother's place in Phoenix. Says he's done with pharmaceutical sales." "And Jennifer?" "Her company will probably fold within 6 months. The ethics violations will make it impossible for them to get contracts with any major healthcare systems." We walk toward the exit together, past the elegant decorations and empty tables. Outside, the November air is crisp and clean, carrying the promise of winter and new beginnings. "Do you think we went too far?" Cleo asks as we reach the parking garage. I consider her question seriously. Did we go too far in our pursuit of justice? Did we destroy lives that could have been salvaged, relationships that could have been repaired? "They made their choices," I say finally. "We just made sure they faced the consequences." "No regrets?" "None." As I drive home through the quiet city streets, I think about the house that's waiting for me,